Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of NF Twins. Today we're joined by Carmen Li. She's the founder and CEO of Silicon Data and Compute Exchange. She turns GPUs into commodities, talks about compute like it's the new oil, and somehow makes parallel parking in New York sound more stressful than AI infrastructure. She might never admit it, but I'm sure she's a great mentor. So guys, buckle up and enjoy this episode.
Context, Silicon Data is like the Bloomberg for compute-related market information, market insights, benchmarking information. So the goal is to bring transparency forward in the whole compute AI ecosystem. Compute Exchange, on the other hand, is a spot marketplaces for GPU procurement. So think about, if you need 300 nodes, hyperscalers, neoclouds. This is a very efficient way for you to source compute because we're integrating with over 100 providers globally. You'll tell us what you need is our queue process. We'll turn around within 24 hours. So save time, more transparency, and then make everyone's life better.
That's pretty awesome. So you guys have kind of like a marketplace or just literally like an exchange, like a commodity, like a
Um, Unfortunately, GPU is not as homogeneous as we like to be, right? So there's a lot more nuances, and even the H100 configuration, same configuration, they can perform differently. Can be supported by different teams. They have different compliance level, security level. So our goal as Exchange is servicing all the information to the users, relevant information, and the user will look at rubrics in that whole this is cheaper, but I may have to pay a premium because XYZ reasons, right? So what the exchange try to do is just surfacing all the information and allow the user to make most efficient capital allocation choices.
are
That
we
is
talking
Silicon Data, correct?
That's compute exchange. Silicon
company
data
exchange? Okay, okay, yeah.
next layer. So think about, we have all those trading informations and from other provider as well. So we create indices. So similar to, the electricity futures, crude oil futures, you think about, American Line or British Airways or whatever, right? They don't really call OPEC and say, hey, give me a 5-year long contract for oil. They have bankers, internal teams that help them hedging the oil volatility. So you and me can get a stable price plane tickets versus, go up and down all the time, right? So that's really the goal for, we think compute will be the biggest human resources globally, bigger than all energy combined. So more the reason for the asset class to have transparencies and risk management tools for everybody. So then you and me can say, hey, we don't have to sign 5-year long contract. We can just hedge use futures. It's a lot more cheaper, a lot more flexible, and give people a lot more options. Essentially driving, again, capital allocation, efficiency, and risk management for everybody.
So everybody needs to talk about AI models. You talk about compute like it's oil. So why is almost everybody looking at the wrong layer?
I don't think people are wrong. So there's different layers of cakes, right? So you think about electricity you need for everything, right? And then compute, GPU is powered by electricity. And then what GPU power to is LM models. And you and me might not care the LM models with TMIs and whatever. We care the application layer, right? That's what we want to get out. You want, optimize this video production to be the most, whatever, right? Smooth, right? You might not care what kind of model they're running underneath it. They might use 20 different models for different use cases, right? So we care about at the top as the customers, but every layer they care about all different things. If you are an infrastructure provider for inferencing, right, you care about the GPUs because essentially, if you serving a large size model, you have to have unfortunately a different chips than you serving a small size model. So every single layer matters to different people. But yeah, so we try to make sure that fundamentally it's more efficient, and then slowly we make every layer more efficient.
So we also the other day we had an episode on Jensen D. Rockefeller, so Jensen Wang, because end of the day, NVIDIA, I mean, you just said compute is kind of like oil. And we're thinking, what do you think who is catching up to NVIDIA right now? Because as of our knowledge, it just
Everybody.
looks like NVIDIA is just killing everyone. Really?
Well, I don't think they're killing everyone. I think they are the pioneer. They are doing a lot of great things. The CUDAs and the chip themselves, the design. I think Vera Rubin is great, and the next generation of Rubin Plus, whatever that called, right? Well, coming out GTC, probably be amazing too. right? But I don't think they're killing everybody because everyone is trying really hard to do different things and serving different use cases, right? AMD, no brainer. They do a lot of interesting things, a lot of great things. We do keep track of AMD prices. We do batching of AMD supply and demand. We see a lot of adoption. There's a bunch of other design houses, right? Aside from NVIDIA and AMD, Nova, Cerebras, the North American ones, a bunch of Chinese ones, not even Huawei, the other chips, other design houses, right? There's so many of them. So you have to, if essentially, I believe that give a more robust, vibrant market is good for everybody, right? And you need more, transparency to what best for what, but I think it's good for everybody. I think NVIDIA, they're doing great, but doesn't mean anyone else cannot do great because they're great, right?
I mean, the market is so big and it's growing rapidly. You mentioned some Chinese ones already, but do you think as Westerners, we will have access to these ones?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why, unless depends on your. I mean, this comes to geopolitics, right? Will your country allow people to import Chinese chips? Maybe yes, maybe no, right? Will China allow export of the chips? I don't see
Yeah.
why it's not allowed. I will if I were, obviously I'm not. If I were the decision maker, right? I'd be like, I want people to adopt my chips, just like in America. I want people to use NVIDIA chips, right? So it comes down to if it's complete free market, and people should have choice, right? Depends on what chips you're looking for. You have to balance, the use cases. A lot of Chinese chips they optimize obviously for different things than American chips, for very specific reason, right? China has abundant energy, right? So they might not be energy super efficient just because they don't need to, but they may be optimized for something else that they care more about, right? It all depends on what you're looking for. I mean, for example, Spain, you have all of energy. Do you care about energy efficiency? Maybe less so than my American firms, right? So, depends.
I mean, we're originally from Germany and we're talking about energy prices.
Oh,
Germany is, I think, it's the most expensive country for electricity in Europe. It's double the price of Spain. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's like one of the biggest problems that in general to be future proof is like you need to keep the electricity prices low because otherwise you will not be able to build any of these supercomputers or like in like centers because otherwise nobody can pay for this.
Yeah, the thing is, I guess the problem right now, I think, is electricity prices. We treat them as the same, right? You pay California grid price, you pay Iceland, which pays wind prices, but you factor carbon, right? Then the cost can be different. And just speaking from like Spain's love, green energies, and Iceland. So, but some places of the world, it's really coal-driven production of electricity. You factor in the carbon cost, this might be even higher, even though it's cheap, but it should be higher, right, to equalize the market. So I don't know. I feel like you need a lot more numbers, transparency needs to go into the system so people have a holistic understanding of the price, true price.
How much do actually big companies care for this carbon offset, etc.? Because you have this, you said all these
Nobody,
indexes and all this stuff.
nobody.
Okay, all right.
It's really sad, right? So when I start, obviously I create indices. It's like, I'm passionate about that, clearly. The second product I created is called silicon carbon, right? It's really just help you predict how much carbon emission based on your workflow. So you tell me what chips you're using, tell me how many hours you can run it for, tell me your geolocation, right? Can be hyperscalers, can be zip code. Based on the
Yeah.
local grid information, I'll tell you the carbon footprint associated with that workflow. So my idea, naively, is if you pay the same price anyways to hyperscaler, pick a region that have lower carbon. We'll tell you that, right? Or all things equal, you can have at least a transparency to know how much you should hedge it, right? Yeah, no one cares.
I think most people don't even know about this. They don't even think about it. They think like it's all. They say it's in the cloud. Literally, they think it's in the cloud, and they're like, "There's no location for this." So I never thought.
The island building like data centers in the cloud now. Maybe it will
Yeah,
be
yeah.
physically the cloud, but there's so many challenges for that. I think technically for that.
Do you
We'll
think this is a lot of virtual signaling that they're like, because everyone talks about like, I don't know, at least my LinkedIn feed. And when you hear it's like, oh yeah, I don't know, whatever. Microsoft has a new carbon footprint goal or whatever. Do you think they're just talk and actually not doing like concerned about this when they use new providers like new clouds?
I think it's gonna come down to the oversight, right? Like my daughter tells me she does great at school. Right? How do I verify that? Right? I can't verify anything. She can tell me whatever she wants.
The
So
classic.
right? So I can call her teacher, right? I mean, and then the conventional teacher is she can tell me the truth or does she remember, right? So I think it's all comes to oversight, and who's actually benchmark whom and what kind of conflict of interest they really have, right? Unfortunately, the world is I don't think it's 100% trustworthy 100% of the time.
Yeah. When you look at the compute today, where exactly are we in the commodity life cycle, sorry.
I think it's getting a lot more so which is good, right? So we have a product called Silicon Mark. We benchmark GPU performances across all the cloud providers from the consumer grade GPU graphic cards all the way to the B200, the B300s, right? So we do see, which is a really good trend, the variance of GPU performances across different generation architecture is getting better and better. So meaning, the performance are more stable, the standard deviation is smaller as the new generation rolls out. That also translates to most things are going to perform maybe within whatever standard deviation. They're more easily can be replaceable by other similar chips, right? So that I think you have to a few things, right? Number one, the machine itself has to be able to produce consistent results. That number one is a commoditizer, right? And number two is can you really swap APIs in and out very frequently? And then comes down to hey, what's the model layer you're looking at, right? And then obviously if you cool 28 versus cool 29, it's very different. You have actually very different outcomes. It's a lot of nuances to the actual token. Depends on how you're measuring. But I think we're getting closer to answering the question.
You
That's
mentioned
like that
earlier already
reminds
that the
me.
same
Oh,
GPUs had different performances. Is it something like, are you familiar with graphics cards for the i3 to i7 or i9?
but
Is
that's
it the
CPUs,
same
Mark.
thing? Is it the same thing that it's just the chip is not as clean? Or what do you mean? What's the performance difference? Or is it because of the near where the I don't know the data centers are not using cooling enough? What are the biggest impactors that you are aware of?
All and above. The biggest impact we don't know quite. I don't know quite yet, right? So can be CPUs, can be the RAMs, can be the connectivities between the nodes, can be the cooling. I'm happy to obviously share with the audience our report. We measure up 38% performance differences across different cloud providers for the same chip, right? And then there you can tell you can totally tell the HBMs are very different. Some of them are 3 terabytes, some of them 4 terabytes. They don't tell you. It's not something they will tell you. This is what kind of terabytes they are. You have to test it, verify it yourself, which is it depends on your use case. You might not care about that as much, right? And host to device connectivities and memories, and there's a lot of layers that can change your performances again based on your use cases. Some use cases you keep constantly bringing data in from outside, right? Then you have different bottlenecks. Then hey, I'm just gonna keep running it within the whole GPU, right? Your bottlenecks can be different. Your performance is very different based on your workflow. So what we are doing right now is we're integrating with Inference Max, DGX of the world, which is open source benchmarking tools. So Silicon Mark is almost like the orchestration layer. You run the basic check, so UIDs of every single chip, the machine IDs which we mesh. So we know whenever you switch out like a GPU or CPU, we would know because the machine ID would be different because based on the UID, right? So then we measure the connectivities and latencies of the machine flops, right? The machine information. Take 90 seconds. It's very quick. We measure all the
Wow.
connectivity. It's amazing. I know. And it's completely free. You can just go to Silicon Mark, right? A Silicon Data right now and then just download the agent. You don't have to register. There's no cost. You just run it. You will get a report. You timestamp it and everything. Um, and then we do AMD chips and everything else too, agnostic. Anyways, so we do that, and also you can test DGX Suite, Inference Max with our orchestrations. You can choose what you want to test. So then, essentially, based on your use cases, you can test a variety of chips from different new clouds, will give you very comparable results. That's really the goal, right?
So based on your data, what are the most things that AI founders don't like to hear? Like that are just like what your data shows that it's like, oh no.
I think people assume. I mean, AI founders they care about a few things, right? Obviously, care about cost, right? And then you care about performances. Most people assume hyperscaler are a lot more expensive than neoclouds. The assumptions most of the time are correct. They're about 2.5 to 3x more expensive across different chips. For L40s, I mean, hyperscalers still charge like 40 cents per GPU per hour or 50 cents for L40s. Can you believe that?
No.
Crazy. That's wild.
Super old.
That's the L40s, right? But and then if you can look at neocloud, and people just assume, hey, neoclouds will perform worse than hyperscaler because I'm paying a freaking premium. I should get better, GPUs. May not be true, right? Because hyperscaler are good at certain things. They optimize for certain things. They optimize maybe for scientific research, stability across different clusters. I mean, it's always trade-off, right? Neoclouds may be
Could,
better at other things because they don't optimize for those things. So it really depends on what they're looking for.
could we quickly explain for our audience what are hyperscalers and what are
Yes,
neoclouds?
So hyperscaler is a definition and it's kind of changing, right? People want to be a hyperscaler. We met AWS, so Amazon, GCP, that's Google, Azure, that's Microsoft. And Oracle is kind of the fourth one right now in the hyperscaler space. They're regional hyperscalers. So that's really the Alibaba cloud, the Tencent cloud, those mostly Chinese cloud. They do have domestic international footprint. So that's what we consider hyperscalers, right? Neo clouds are the ones that people probably heard of CoreWeave, which went IPO last year, and there's a bunch of them that's probably going IPO this year, right? Probably there's over 100 to 200 neo clouds today, mostly GPU oriented workflows, but I'm sure they want to do different things as well down the line.
Yeah, we've used also like round pods, etc., when we were fine tuning models for our previous startup. So yeah, it's like so we used it, but it's very like it's also easier to use because in AWS when you're using it, it's like it can be very overwhelming if you're not super technical, and you're trying to activate it, especially when you're trying then later to get off of it and like have to spin everything down. It's way more complex than the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, they have obviously I have my opinions on all three of them. um, so there's also consulting services. They are making fortune to do all those migrations, multi-cloud, and all those stuff, right? Because to your point, it's very complicated. Like I don't envy my head of infrastructure's job. I mean, he's great, but like I was like, I'm not even gonna try to understand what you do.
Yeah, infrastructure is a pain in the butt. I'm curious, how has your vision and in general the focus of silicon data changed over the year? I think you founded it last year. I mean, and then you created also a compute exchange. So were the key learnings and from where it started and what it is right now and where it will be in 2 or 5 years?
2 to 5 years is a long time. I probably do like 2 to be like
6 months. 6 months. We're in AI here.
I can't do more those calculations, compute. So for silicon data, so we start off, we truly believe compute will be the largest human resources. I want to bring transparency, efficiency forward, right? That's really the goal from data layer, from financial products layer. So we're doing exactly that. We signed a contract with Polymarket. So you'll probably start seeing yeah, it's fun. I mean, I feel like it's intuitive for people to say, hey, I don't have a futures account right now, right? I'm not trading on CME ICE, but I do have opinions on the H100 prices next month, right? Whatever, right? So it's a place for people to voice their opinions. I think it's fun, right? So that is something we keep doing that, and then obviously we are launching the real future option products with the future exchange very soon. So that's state of course. What I thought was really fascinating is my background is not GPU focused, right? I touched a little bit FPGA back then, but nothing GPU related. So when I get into the industry 2024, was really fun learning experiences. And then what I realized that is people you either know your GPU, you know it's good, right? Because you've been doing this for forever, or like you have no idea. Like, where do I start? The wrong benchmarking. DJX takes me like few days. Like, what the heck is going on? You made me download a bunch of things I don't need to. Don't say that to DJX. Why I'm doing this, right? So that's why it really was important to me. How do we make sure people? I think there should be fair market value for everything. You can pay higher price, but it should be for a reason. You should have more clarity, right? That's really Silicon Market is born for. So what I thought was fascinating is the idea got so much adoption I would say 12 months later, right? The market saw what I saw from outside point of view 12 months later. Because you think about people, they either know or they don't. If you know that, you don't think it's a pain point because you already know, right? People do not know. They were like, okay, so what happened now, right? So for someone in the middle, that was great opportunity for me to see something that I think is pain points very transparent to me, but may not be the people being in the industry forever. So that's one thing I thought that's interesting. Where when I had this idea, I was confused. Like, how do no one else think this is the pain point? Right? Why I'm the only one? Am I really that smart? Probably not. Like what makes me like think of something that no one else can? Right? Well, badge, right? So I talked to a lot of people. It's like, am I crazy? Am I the only person thinking that? And it was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe there's some lags. So we start producing the products. Now we see huge adoption across all new clouds and people doing financing. You need to know the residual values. Hey, if you tell banks I have 200 B200, they have to verify that somehow, right? So there's a lot of things you need to do a third party that I think is a pain point, and people just like, I was like, what was your solution before? We pre for is the right thing. We just trust people.
Really?
Yeah.
Exactly. If you buy something off eBay back then, like $30,000 machine, it was like, how do you make sure it's good? We pray. Like, good for you. Good for you. Right, like to me, it's very transparent. You have to have a report, timestamp report, tell me what it is. It's something not mutable, right? It's not open source completely, where you can just change up the numbers anytime you want. It's not helpful, right? So I think this interesting learning for me is sometimes I just have more faith in myself, right? Sometimes I do see things that because my lack of experience, for better or worse, can give me more insights than people in the industry forever. So that's that.
Yeah. It's like the horse that has the blinds on, just like, hey, the other ones that in the industry is like, hey, I'm just focused on my thing. The other thing, it is what it is. I'm not going to change that. It's
not
like,
too much about what they do, right? They're very focused. I think the CEO's job, a founder's job, to keep seeing cross like pockets of opportunity and then stitch things up for something maybe a lot more interesting, less transparent, at time zero, but more transparent down the line. So yeah, I think it's the fun part of being a founder too. You can see.
oh, I love it.
What
It's
got
so
you
nice.
actually to jump off the just like the leap of faith when you're like, okay, I don't want to be a founder now, because like you've been working a long time. How was it out of a sudden like, you know what? I want to leave my comfortable job and do not one startup but two at the same time.
So I always wanted my startup. I always wanted my own thing. The problem with me is I don't think I'm very smart. Like I'm not 20 years old geniuses. No, like I'm not like some idea of like I can do this 20. I know so
Those
much.
are the smart people who say they're not smart are the smart ones.
I'm not one of those geniuses, unfortunately, right? So I think what I did back then is coming out of college, which is financial crisis era, in the US. Now I give my age away. So there was how many job opportunities, and for me it's like, okay, which job pays me the most money? Like this one. Okay, I'll go for this one. I don't care. Right? So that's like not about like what my passion about. It's like what makes the most money. I'll take that one. Like why not? Like why do I want to give myself another like what's ROI, right? So let me do the high-paying job, and then I was lucky enough to got amazing working experiences. While I'm doing those jobs, I always feel like I want to do something on my own, but I can never quite convince myself why I'm better than you, for example, in doing certain things. Like if I think about something like a fashion, like why do I think I'm better design, have better taste than someone else? I couldn't even convince myself, right? And then how do I convince others, right, to do so? And this is the only opportunity which is overlapping hardware, financial products. I was a trader, data, or managing global data integration for Bloomberg. Like married all my niche experiences somewhat to have a product and company. And to me, it's like no brainer. I think I was only. I still think I thought I was the only person in the world can do this right away. And that was just kind of plus like complete ignorance plus like crazy faith in myself. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I see no risk. This is pretty funny. People's like, oh, how do you manage your risk? I was like, I don't see any risk. It's gonna work. I don't know why people think it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Work.
As a founder, you have to be a little bit on the crazy side. Like you're like, why would this not work? Like,
Exactly.
You're the crazy one. You're the crazy one, not me. Like, why would this not work?
Right? It's not gonna work. It's going to work. It just based on like how much value I'm gonna capture. That's a question, right? I'm gonna create a lot of value. obviously, selfishly, I want a monopoly. That's a rational decision. You want to own the freaking thing. You probably can't. Okay, so how much can you really own? Can you capture the value you created? Right? That's something we should keep doing on. But yeah, this is gonna work for sure.
And then use value pricing instead of cost pricing, and there you go.
You have to, right? If you think about data sets we created, in theory, I can trade it myself. Why I'm selling to you, it better be better revenue that I can create it myself as a trader, right? I think that's only fair. If I can think and create more value, if I spend more time, that may as well set a hedge fund on the side. So it's like, well, in my mind, that's like a lot intuitive, comparison. And then, so a year in-ish to Silicon Data, I did not start Compute Change. It started by other founders. So what happened is we're always very close to the whole ecosystem. On the board of that company, which we share board members as well between Compute Change and Silicon Data back then, still do. So they reach out to me, basically be like, "Are you interested in taking it over?" And obviously, I was like, "Clearly, you think solo founder is not enough for me." But clearly you think, one CEO is just not good enough. So what I was actually pretty anxious because marketplace is a very different business model and they require different skill sets. You can argue, product
Yes.
intuition. Silicon Data is everything is very intuitive to me. From the data side to the financial product, distribution strategy, my clients, like everything is within my comfort zone, 100%. Right? Compute Change is a little bit out of my comfort zone. I work with all startup founders, and they are very excited and about what they do, and then they can be all different sort of growth level, right? And I was never cool, so I need to be cooler for that cool word.
I don't know. You're cool to me. I love what you talk about. So
So that was new. So I was anxious. And then, but at the same time, I was like, if I taking over the dual CEO role, I do believe I can provide a lot more value to both sides of clients. So right now, not only I know the spot market trading mechanisms and dynamics, I can bring a second data piece, which the benchmarkings, the global transactions from reserve to on spot on demand. That's very helpful for my clients here. And then from the silicon data side, we have actually contextual knowledge base of whatever is happening. All data points mean something to me. I know exactly what deal went through that. I know who merged with whom, who needs more compute, who wants compute where. Right? So you have the literally touching the GPU and then also you see the data side, right? So and then this is really no communication cost. It's really left and right brain between myself, which is awesome, right? I can see something. Okay, great. Let's do this and let's do that. That makes sense. No, the number is wrong. No, this compute price doesn't make sense. Is it going down for the future curve? We know exactly going to be trading in 6 months, right? So there's so much help, I think. Influence I can have for both sets of client bases.
could you elaborate who are the sets of clients? Because you mentioned 2 sets of clients, but what is the Silicon Data client? I'm guessing these are all the neo clouds, etc. And who are the ones in Compute Exchange?
So Compute Exchange have 2 sets of participants, right? One is mostly the startups, but they spend a lot of money on GPUs, right? Another set is neo cloud providers. So they provide GPUs when it's consume GPUs, right? So that's pretty straightforward. And then Silicon Data side, obviously, it's one-sided market. So we create products, data, indices, applications. The consumer of the products can be financial services, so banks and hedge funds, can be the neo cloud providers for benchmarkings, can be the AI companies or people in the same industries, right? Think about the fab, think about design houses, right? They want to know what's going on. They want to know because we have end customer, everyone's low degree removed, right? You think about TSMC, they produce chips in the fab, but they don't really know how much things are trading, what's the benchmarking look like, what demand supply look like. With the fab, right? You sell your GPU to neo clouds, but again, you don't see at the end what people paying, what's the volatility for that price, right? So we're sort of the very end of customer level, so they appreciate the data insights we created.
I like that you have the basically on the because the one is a two-sided marketplace and the one is a one-sided marketplace, and you can use the one-sided marketplace to push these clients to the other side, which I thought is like or connect them at least.
Encourage them. We don't push people.
No. Sorry. Encourage them, but it's in the end, it's like, which I think is very, very fascinating. But for me, on the two-sided marketplace, the AI founders, what is normally the size of them when they actually start using your platform, right?
Is it the ones who just started raising, or is it more who already like raised, I don't know, 50 million? Or yeah, what are the things that you see in there?
Nowadays, when you just start raising, you can be raising 50 million. So I don't know. That's
First round, 50 million, a US thing.
million,
Let's go.
right? Right. It's actually a thing, right? So
True.
for us, it's not about your stage, right? You can be a very traditional industry driven. You be Series D, but you don't need GPUs, right? It's about, do you have GPU procurement needs? Do you have on demand GPU spend management needs, right? So you can be an early stage, but you spend $50 million on GPUs, or you can be much later stage. You only spend 5 million on GPUs, right? For us, it's about stages. About, do you need GPU procurement needs? So that's that. But yeah, so definitely. So we see people start, sometimes they test us out with like window, right? For like weekly contract, whatever. And then they're like, oh, I like the process, it's very efficient. Let me slowly transfer like all my workloads, any reserve to us. Because through us, we're not, you can still work with whoever you want to work with, right? It's not, we help you procure across all the providers that you greenlisted, right? Like we don't care. We make the same amount of money on anyone. It's 4% transaction fee for all GPUs for all, any compute resources. So we just want to make sure the best match happened across our provider, and then we don't own anything. So we're never going to try to push our own GPU. We don't have anything, right? So make the market a lot more agnostic.
Makes it also much easier for you guys because handling that as well makes it so much more complex.
Yeah, I just don't think, again, to what's my edge, right? Only my GPU, what is my edge? If I have a brand new product, which I have to own my GPU, maybe that, right? If there's no, upside, like what's the point?
I was also so okay. Look, we have startups and we're like very very in focus on consumers. So we're using a lot of compute, but we're using third party providers such as Replicate. So I'm guessing like these are you familiar with Replicate? I'm guessing these are probably ones that use your service.
Right. So you think, the way I think about it is, you use token. Most people use the tokens. You shouldn't care about what
Yes.
really
Yeah.
power. That's the right thing to think. I mean, why do you need to worry about the chips underneath that? It's a service provider will procure GPUs from us, right? And then from your point of view, it's a lot more about token price hedging, right? Obviously, if you're doing closed source model, especially, the last thing you want is they start hiking 15% or doing some crazy pricing that like drive your business model, right, out of whack. So open source model. So we do have token product as well. Total cost
Really?
effective.
What is it called?
So compute exchange, we're trying to create. It's not live yet, but we're trying to figure out a way to help you monitor your token costs across different adoption models. So think about, if you have one workflow and you replace that with multiple different models based on use cases, use smaller models for predictive results and large model for thinking, right? For thinking tokens. And how do you monitor that? How do you cut things off? And how do you think about um, the marginal benefit for additional queries? So you just let it run away, right, from you. So the token cost transparency is something we're thinking about from computation side. Obviously, since I'm not trading, the price doesn't fluctuate as much. We start seeing last year DeepSeek offering off-peak pricing, right? If you getting directly from DeepSeek, you do off-peak pricing. If you look
Yeah.
at today's world, Kimi is offered by multiple infrastructure providers in North America and Europe, right? How do you think their pricing will change, right? Obviously, if everything equal, you should route your API to the cheapest place if the quality is the same, right? But same time, how do you make sure the quality is the same? Because they can change their precision anytime without telling you, right? So that impact the quality of your product. Again, token level is a lot of intransparencies. Price volatility is coming through, as well as, how would you know when things going to be deprecated? What you
So
gonna do about that? So
do you think financialization will slow innovation or actually accelerate it, like having a fixed price?
I don't think fixed price of anything is good. I think you should let people, if ideally, if all people using a token, that should translate to your product is good. Then it's up to demand supply curve for what to meet, right? You can make it higher prices to a point ROI is lower than your marginal benefit, right? Then you should switch something else. In my mind, it should be more efficient. If you fix it, then you're sort of letting go of opportunities, you potentially increase your prices or lower it just to get a lot more people using it, right? So either way, I think things should be more flexible. But as a customers, you want to be fixed because you don't want to experience the up and downs, right? That's why the financial products is there for a reason. You can hedge it. It'd be like, hey, I'm gonna just make sure I lock in the same price. So you naturally short token, you want to long the futures, right? If I'm a financial infrastructure provider, I also want to make sure I capture, the future potential of my product, so I can use future to hedge.
Do you think prices will go down or up in compute?
For the GPU level, if you look at per flop, it's definitely coming down. But if you think about per GPU per hour, that might not be, right? The B200, B300 are more expensive than H100 because they are more powerful, right? They are, and then the supply and demand curve also dictated where things meet, right? So per flop is definitely going down. If you look at per GPU per hour for the latest and greatest, it's always going to be higher than the previous generation. I think that's fair if the performance
What
is keeping.
What about the token prices? Because they're also highly dependent not on the GPUs, but also on electricity, right? Maintenance, uh, database centers, etc.
It's very interesting. So electricity is a cost contributor to GPUs cost, right? Electricity, even though you say Germany is high, which I agree, I mean, probably you're right, but it's still small influence on GPU rental prices. GPU, because GPU itself is so expensive, that translates to, even electricity expensive. It's like what, 15-20% influence of the GPU pricing. Not really important, including all the maintenance combined, because GPU itself is so expensive. Come to tokens, right? We did a study last year as well. So last year the price been coming down for both A100 and H100, and so we're like, shouldn't the inferencing provider lower their token prices because their cost is clearly going down? Yeah, no one freaking decreased their prices. So their margin, I'm sure, should have expanded, but clearly did not pass the savings or the margins to the customers, right?
I mean, it's classic behavior. There was a similar thing happening in an unrelated industry. We go to the gym a lot, so in whey protein, like there was like a whey protein crisis. They didn't have enough milk because of during COVID, and then the whey protein increased by 20 to 30% in the raw cost, and then afterwards it went down even cheaper than it was before the crisis, but the costs actually rolled it over to the end consumer. So the end consumer, and now the prices have been increasing and increasing because the margins are going to be much bigger. So it's just I think like a very normal thing for them to do, which
It's
is
a
wild.
capitalist thing, right? That's why you need a
Yeah,
competitive.
yeah.
You should start a company and then you should force them to lower their prices, right? So that's why you
I mean,
always need balance of, the market,
also
influence.
like another example, talking about chips, consoles. Think
Oh yeah.
about Switch 2, whatever. They're like selling it as a loss. Because like basically they're like the chips are relatively expensive, and then later on they always have the same price. They don't even put it on discounts, and then you just later on they will start making because the chips are getting cheaper and cheaper to be produced, and then there's still the margins just go up. I want to come back to the tokens and the cost of the tokens because how do you make sure also that you said the quality is the same, but also speed? Speed is so important. For
Yeah.
example, if you have anything real time calls or whatnot, it's a pain in the ass because this millisecond makes a difference to make it annoying or not annoying.
I 100% agree with you. So there's a few things, right? Number one, the physics itself, right? Is your GPU good enough to do latency versus token throughput, right? So it's a physical thing we can test, right? Which Silicon Mark do today. The second thing is even your same GPU and your same provider, based on how much money you spend with them, you get put different threshold, right? Your speed and everything. So that's a human decision, right? Like a speed bump, right? Or whatever you call that, a traffic thing. That's something we cannot test. So in my mind, anyone can do anything, but the transparency should be forward, the pricing should reflect the quality of the product. So if you get the best services and if you need that, and then you may have to pay a premium, then someone's like, I don't care the speed, I can take an hour, so I'm gonna just go sleep and then come back and the things are done. Right? They have lower quality of services, but they should pay less.
So it's like
So
a priority queue thing. So people should
exactly.
it should be, yeah, okay,
But
makes
people should
sense.
be transparent about this, right? Not like hey, I'm gonna slow you down just because I'm not gonna tell you. I don't think
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, we have noticed this with Replicate. Sometimes it's just if you use a different model or the same model, all of a sudden an image generation jumps up from 8 seconds to like 3 minutes, and you're like,
Hmm.
how? What
You know which
happened
model
here?
you prefer? Maybe sometimes it's model issues, like more physics constraint, physical constraint than anything else.
So I mean, this one was, for example, Nano Banana Pro,
Okay.
and it sometimes it's a super quick. Okay, 8 seconds over exaggerated, but I think it was like 20 seconds, 25, and then really sometimes it's just 3 minutes or something, and that
Maybe too many requests at the same time,
you
and
know,
etc.
100%. That's something
They're
that
dedicating too little of a GPU for it, and then yeah. But
Right,
it's a
right. I
queue for
wonder,
sure.
right, they're overcrowding the physics. I guess ideally they should give you expectation, like, it shouldn't be longer than say a minute or a minute and a half, right? Should give you expectation. And anything better than that, you should be glad. And anything worse than that, it should be like you know, like a whatever arrangements if they fail their delivery time.
So, do you think that GPU arbitrage feels like a bug, or is it actually a feature of an immature market?
You mean
Like
GPU
the
price?
yeah, but yeah, basically because you're seeing mispricing, right? Because it's not one offers the L40 for like 50 cents per hour, whereas then others offering newer ones, much faster ones for the same price.
So I think depends on again your use cases. The reason why certain provider can charge a price premium because they do other things, right? For example, they do provide other like software layer, application layer they use for other things, and then it's a pain for you to transfer your workload. So you kind of stuck with them, even though they charge you a premium for this particular thing, but you don't want to just move out for this particular thing you know, so that they have the power over you, for better or worse, to charge a premium. So, you know, that's just sort of situation. Similar to like if you go to Disney, right? You're stuck with paying a high price premium for like a burger. They can. They are doing they are charging you and you get stuck up.
Monopoly. Yeah, you can't go. You're just like, let me go out of the park very quickly and have a hamburger.
You
No,
can
it's
do
not
it,
worth
right.
it.
It's like, yeah, exactly. You can do that, right? But again, the cost of doing that. Same thing to GPU. So you can just use other all 40s, but it's a lot of work. So comes down to market power. So
What's okay? I have a more selfish question here for the audience. If you were now just coming right out of college and you wanted to start a startup, and what are your insights that you could give our audience to start something in what market? What focus should they be? Not they don't have the background that like you do with working 10 years in at Bloomberg and having all this trading.
sure.
20. You look still so young, Carmen.
Thank you. Those were cool. I don't. I so honestly, I think the generation we're talking about here, like the one out of college, I think that's way smarter than me. I really think so. I think they should tell me what to do. To be honest, I honestly think they're more intuitive technologies. They probably did not. I learned C++. I learned Java, right? In my era, like they don't need to, right? They leapfrog by so many degrees and means, which is awesome. I think everything should come so intuitive to them with vibe coding, so we deploy agents. They should probably have more ideas than I can even fathom myself to, right? Which is awesome. So if I were them, I think it's the golden era for people who are aggressive in learning curve, who want to try all different things, who want to be competitive. It's a very competitive market, right? Because things that iterate so quickly. If you're afraid of learning new things and then you're afraid of competition, may not be good for you. But if you're excited by those things, right, and then you always can, few weeks, few months better than your competitors, it'll be amazing time. It'll be amazing time. You will love it. Whatever avenue, direction you want to explore, there'll be opportunity. Again, how do you capture the opportunity? Well, that's a different question. You might need people's advice and commercial models and distributions, everything else, right? But yeah, in general, I think the new generation, I envy them. I think it's great. I think one person can do so much more now, right? You can do front end, you can do back end, you can do go to market, you can send multiple mass emails, right? You can do so much. You need like two people to run a whole company, probably.
Yeah.
That's the goal here. There's 3 right now.
Exactly. You want to go, it's great. Yeah, exactly.
You're being too modest. Then only another thing that I was just wondering, for all those ones who are starting now, and you said with vibe coding they can do anything, is there a specific I'm going to rephrase this.
There are things that Upgrade cannot do. Yes, correct. For example, right now they suck at doing data engineering work, right? Data engineering, infrastructure layer, API, they suck at it, right? They do great front end, right? They can vibe code a few apps, right? But
Yeah.
I won't cost them more than, like I would never vibe code to create API
Yeah.
services, enterprise grade enterprise, services. And
The
my
risks are too great, right?
they manage my data lake. Never, right?
What do you think about there's always this question about, oh my God, ChatGPT wrappers are over, or this is the hit now. How do you fall on that spectrum? Like ChatGPT, well, let's put it this way, AI wrappers, they're complete garbage, or actually there's a great opportunity because it's a spectrum, I feel like.
I mean, everything's wrapper, right?
I love that. That's also what the other founder said. Who was it?
Anthropic.
Anthropic.
Anthropic
Yeah.
founder was like, yeah, AWS is a wrapper. It's like it's an NVIDIA wrapper. NVIDIA is a wrapper of the chips.
Everyone's
Are
building on
just
top of each other, right? That's only normal. You put it on top of each other. The clothes is cloth wrapper, right? Like you put it
Yeah.
on top of. That's fine, but you have to make sure what's your edge, right? You have to be honest with yourself. What is your edge? Can people replicate your edge like next hour? Or maybe they can, but they don't have a distribution channel, or customer interaction. You have to find something, right? That keep your product going, keep your service going. I don't think the question is not being a wrapper of something. It's more about like what is your true edge since you don't own the model. What is the other edge you have? Maybe it's just you're very good at designing certain product experiences. There can be something like Notion is beautiful. I can never design Notion the way they are. I'm just not artist like anything talented, right? So like, what's the edge actually? So that's something you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, Ben, I'm not an artist either. I had to do some for our previous startups. I had to do some UX UI, and I was like, "Damn boy, this is a steep learning curve for me."
I think it's very hard. You really think through on customer experiences, the nuance, every single detail, right? You have to be so detail oriented, and some people are incredible at these things.
You know what? I don't think I'm very detail oriented, but for me, the UX part wasn't the hard, but the UI in terms of how am I going to make it look like, because I'm a very visual learner, and also I have a very good imagination. So for me, that wasn't the problem, but more I'm like, how am I gonna? That was before AI, because we're also not the youngest here. So that was before AI. So we had to do it all with Figma by hand, and all that stuff. And so I remember I was like, oh boy, how am I gonna do this?
That's why it's right. Even Figma is even though it's a really good tool, it's not as easy as AI can. That's why they stop because they not performing well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Carmen, you're a founder of you're CEO of 2 companies. What are the things in your personal life that you were like, man, because I'm like now founder of 2 or CEO of 2 companies, you're like, this is getting, how do you manage all this?
It's pretty fun. I mean, I'm selfishly, I only do things I enjoy doing. Like I play with my kids. I have 2 daughters, 8 and 5. I play with them, but I don't cook for them.
Nice.
I don't enjoy cooking, right? So
Right.
you pick what selfishly. I do things I want to do. I play games with them, I go sports with them, I tutor them, right? But sometimes like parent bake thing, you do socialize. I don't do those things. My husband does a lot of things. He knows all the teachers, all the parents, right? So I pick and choose who, what I do. And then work-wise, right? Having a really strong team on both sides, right? So who you can trust, they're very competent. So one of the biggest thing I hate is communication cost. Like I don't like to repeat myself, nor do I like to micromanage people. I want people to just to motivated and do learning things, excited about learning, want to do better work without me nagging. Say, get excited. Like I do that for my kids. That's the maximum I can do. Right? Like I don't give compliments just because I think, yeah, it will cheer you up. I don't think it's honestly my job to cheer anyone up. So I need people who are intrinsically competent, fast learner, and are really passionate about what we do here. Right? So I think having a strong team is very, very critical.
Two questions. One, what is your communication way? So basically, how do you communicate with the team? Are they all in one office, or is it all via Slack? And the second one, how big are the teams of each of the two startups?
So we are remote only on both companies. New York, so Silicon Data is New York headquartered. Exchange is Palo Alto, headquartered in Palo Alto, California. So which is actually pretty good. So we start my morning with Silicon Data. Everything's to your point. Zoom, Slack messages, everything in between. My communication is really straightforward. I really so my initial is CLI, right, as Silicon Data as TSX. So I function like CLI, like command line interface. Like you tell me what you need, I will give you a response back. I don't you don't have to tell me more. Like I don't say hi to people. I don't say how are you doing. I don't even know my family's birthday, my relatives' birthday. I don't do any of those. So it's mostly like need, what's the pain point? How can I be helpful? Like, it's very, very direct to a fault, right? So yeah, it's very transparent. I will tell. I don't do much one-on-ones. It's usually a team meeting. I will tell you what I'm looking for, and people will say, "Hey, don't do it. It's stupid." I was like, "Yeah, good point." Right? So it's usually I like that. I think I tell people I public shame people all the time, but people shame me all the time publicly. That's the only thing. I'd be like, "Carmen, you're like you haven't paid our data yet. We need this for the next." So it's like, "Okay, I'll do it." Right? So I get yelled at, by team. I yell at my team for not doing the right thing, right? So it's pretty, which is I liked, and then very flat organization. Both company are flat.
How did you integrate that in the interview process? Because that's for me very interesting, especially like it's a complete different leadership style than most people do.
Is it?
I mean, you would fit right in Germany, honestly. Like in Germany, the Germans are very direct. They're like the command line. They're like,
Yeah, it's
so
more efficient, right? Like I don't know.
I
You give me
appreciate that.
yeah, you tell me 30 minutes of something, I don't get your point. I was like, you're too smart for me. You're way too smart for me. I just can't do it, right? So for Silicon Data, we're born it's like my character. I hire everybody, so unfortunately, they get used to who I am. They know who I am before they join the company, right? I try to be very transparent with everybody before they join. Like, this is the pros and what I want to do. You don't have to join, obviously, but I want to be transparent. For Compute Change, since I took it over, it took take some terms for them to get used to know who I am. Yeah, one of our teammate was pretty funny. He's like, post the first meeting, he was like, "Oh, this woman came, she cursed bunch, she yelled bunch, but seems like she's pretty straightforward, and I kind of like the situation." And I was like, "Oh, did I yell? Did I curse? I didn't realize that. I'm not right now." So that was pretty funny. And then now people like better worse, right? People who self-select out, obviously, it's only fair. And then some people self-select themselves in, right? So it's, based on, I appreciate people don't like the way I work. I don't do it here. I don't like people managing each other. I think people should really be self-managed, like agents, right? I should be support everybody, right? It's my job to support everybody.
Do you have a trial period? Because 2 weeks ago we talked to another founder. He was also a CEO of a publicly listed company, and he said he has like a 2 week trial period, basically. And everyone has hired newly gets 2 weeks, and you see the vibe, etc. And then they either stay or they get fired. Because if there's a doubt, there's no doubt.
It's actually, so we do internships. We do some of our employees start with contractors roles, and then they'd be like, "Hey, I want to be full time." I was like, "Great," right? So we not formally do that, but we do contractor roles. We do internships. Even like full time employees, we start with them like, "Let's try it out, see if you're passionate about the space, passionate about the culture, excited about what we do." Yeah, yep. So
And how
kind of
long are
like
these internships?
internships are, so it's pretty funny. So when I started a company, I was like, we're remote only. I don't think I have a capacity to be a good mentor to anyone, right? Give them a junior member a good place to like grow and learn, right? Because everything just like go 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 go. And I was like, let me not hire junior people. It's just not fair. And then we end up having a lot of junior people. They loved it because they do like there are junior members since sophomore in college. He was like, can I just not go to school and just join a company? I was like, no, absolutely not. Your mom will kill me, right? So we have people who are really passionate, still work, and they do amazing job. right? There are people out of college. They're just like, can we? He's like, literally, can I not take any cash pay and just get all the equities? They're really passionate. They're quick learners.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement. I was like, honestly, I don't think I can do a good job in like mentoring. I don't even know what that means. Right? I don't know how to mentor people. I don't even know what's the best way. But I don't think I can be very, very good at it. He's like, no, it's the best experience I've ever had in my life. I was like,
I think so too, because you're very direct. You're not like you give them feedback, right?
yeah, give right away. I'll tell you what I think. Doesn't mean it's right. We can talk about it, right? But people seem to self-select themselves. Like I like it, I think they're learning. Not obviously not from me. I'm like useless. They learn from other team members, right? So which is also very awesome, very experienced, very smart. So that I liked. So yeah.
That's interesting. I was curious about that.
No, for me, it's like very interesting to see because I'm like, you are completely remote. Our other guest was completely in person because he was like, no, I need everybody to be in the office. I don't want anybody to be remote. So it's like for me interesting to see that everybody has different mindsets and everything, and there's no one correct way, right? Because everything seems to work. You
Well,
just have to find out the.
so at Bloomberg, everybody is
Mhm.
in 5 days. I was in 5 days. Um, right now, it's for us is talent pool, right? If I restrict myself to New York only, then how am I supposed to source certain, talented people, right? And honestly, one of my selling point is you can be anywhere. Like you don't have to be based in New York. You can move to some places else if you like their standard of living better, right? Everything culturally better. I don't care as long as you do the work. I do agree communication and team spirit can be impacted. So we do offsites. So we do pretty frequent offsite. I know it's pretty fun. So our last offsite in Singapore global offsite for Silicon Data, we ran a big yacht. I know I went nuts. So the yacht owner was
A
like, Carmen,
boat.
I know. I was like, you don't need a big boat for this. You don't have that many people. I was like, what I need versus what I want are very different things. I want a big boat. I know I don't need it. Who needs a boat, right? I want a big yacht, right? That's what I want. That was awesome. Big yacht to ourselves and drove to the public. It's really, really fun. So we do team
Wow.
bonding. And then this time we're doing offsite in Abu Dhabi. And then the compute exchange we did offsite in Palo Alto and in New York. So we always do like offsites, which is people working together and get to know each other and do fun things together. We do like not much fun things, just like one maybe. We're pretty hardcore working, unfortunately.
Do you do one or two offsites a year, or how many do you do
More
per
often,
company?
probably like 3 per company minimum. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
I love
great.
traveling.
And
I love traveling.
so yes, what I'll say that's and none of them. Well, one is in US, but
do you travel for the rest of your work as well?
Depends. So January that was pretty okay. I did one trip to CES, Vegas. February I'm heading to the West Coast next week, and then I'm going to Mao, one of the days. March gonna be nuts. I'm being on my way on the road for like all 4 weeks. Between Abu Dhabi to like the West Coast, to Miami. It's all conferences based meetings. So but I always make a point to come to New York for a weekend to see my kids.
Of course, makes sense.
Well, it's
I
tough.
really.
Economy's tough, right? Travel economy around the world, then gives.
But how big is actually the teams now from both of them? Because like if you had an entire yacht, I'm like, holy cow, that's a big team already.
20 people for Silicon Data side, 10 on compute exchange. The yacht is for 20 people, but I was like, you want to have space for long. You don't have enough toys. So if the yacht is too small, you can't bring toys with you, right? Those all the things you can do.
That's cool.
It's more fun to have a yacht. Like, people's like, this is how we can look like when we actually make it. And I didn't go crazy. I didn't get like carbon fiber yacht. I was like regular yacht, right? I tried it.
I'm not one of the boat people, so I couldn't tell you the difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, either. People was like, do you want more speed? I want more speed at what cost, right? That's always the question. I want better,
Risk of return.
yeah, what's ROI for this? I think it's something fun. I want to do like a Formula One racing. When we talk about this, I want to drive around the right? Because I think
Oh, that's cool.
for me, driving around like a race car in the city is a little bit obnoxious. I do want to drive, so I think a rental like one of those racetrack will be fun.
You know what? We love go-karting. We did it with our company as well. And it was super, super fun and also like cool team building. It's like a very competitive, but also not as risky as other driving because you have these little bumpers and all that stuff. And everyone can do it. You don't have to be a great driver because if you bump into someone, you're not
If
damaging the
you're
car.
communist, if you like communist, that'd be great.
No, no, no. It's just something that our experience.
I want to learn like drifting.
Oh,
I know,
that
right?
is so cool, man. Drifting,
Like
man.
I can do that. That would be so awesome. I can take a video and post on social media all the time, and I make sure my daughter sees me doing that too.
Yeah. The
Um,
cool mom.
I literally like, look, I can do this. So I do boxing on the side, and I do like football in the morning. So I do a lot of sports. I do competitive stuff most of the time because it's always fun. Um,
So, so you manage the stress from work also through a lot of physical activities.
I do. I think I do surfing. I do a lot of things that's actually make me fear. I think every time after I post, like sometimes I'm like I'm 100% dead. This wave is too high. I can get like I cannot go back to the shore. So I feel like sometimes I push myself to do like things I'm not naturally like a super brave person. I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of all different things. If you're a big person, I'll be like, you're the best. I'm peace and love, right? I'm never gonna fight anyone. But yeah, I do want to push my boundary, just being really fearful. And then every time I conquer that fear, I feel much better mentally.
Do you think that this pushing your limits all the time has helped you in your career?
I don't know. I do it for the fun. I don't know. I just want to do it and I do it. I don't think about what's the impact. Even doesn't help. Who cares? I enjoyed it.
Ah, it's
Most
interesting.
important part, to be honest.
Do you
Yeah.
have any other things that you do for your mental health?
Exercise, spending time with my kids. So honestly, my kids are the only people can make me stop thinking about work, right? So I can like really shut my brain and focus on like them. So that's really good for my mental health. If I don't have kids, I'm probably gonna be like working maniac, which I kind of know, but they balance it out a little bit. So yeah, I think for me selfishly having kids that help my mental health, also exercise, which I derive a lot of just enjoy. But I cannot do running. I cannot do like
No.
a cardio.
No.
So, like I meet people they can have the runner high. I have to do something more like combative.
I have a runner low. It just feels like shit all the time.
It's so good. Like marathons is like kudos to you. I have to some. I cannot do it. I'm just not mentally strong to like dedicate an hour for running.
Carmen, do you have any closing advice also for future founders, specifically when it comes to how what you do impacts them? So talking about tokens, how the cost will or the cost of inferences, how that will impact them.
So I won't say it's biased, right? I don't think I'm better than anyone at
This
all.
is not financial advice.
No, I don't feel like I'm that great to give people advice. But what I think would be interesting for them to keep an eye on is when they think through their solutions, their products, right? Obviously going to be somewhat AI related. Sort of they have to be some point, right? So think through what's their true edge if the model itself is not an edge, right? If it's not your edge, but how do you optimize the cost? Then become a cost component than a value adding component, right? So it can be the GPU layer optimization, can be the model itself, right? How do you break it down? I would just say have the financial discipline. So initially you're gonna use the best, the greatest, and best model just to see if the product works. That's very natural. And then once you start to see adoption, the price differences of any AI-enabled workflow can from like $1 to $1,000 for particular use cases, right? Because of token cost and everything related to that. So just be really mindful and disciplined. Because in the previous generation, there's no true raw material cost for the product. It's just people and it's SaaS, right? But now you do have raw material cost, which is a token or GPUs. You can eat up to 80% of your revenue potentially if you don't manage properly, and you let it run away from you because how do you manage the cost control? So it's a good problem to have when you scale. but still you have to be mindful and have the discipline to rethink through, right? So
Thank you. It's great advice. I know I don't like giving it, but it's great advice. 100%. Carmen, where can people find you, or where should people go to?
So obviously my LinkedIn, I have a Twitter X account, Carmen Li. My website is silicondata.com, compute.exchange. So let me know if we can be helpful in any way, sourcing compute, procure GPUs, or you just want to chat about market insights in general. We do a lot of webinars and happy to chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Carmen.